Jeff, how you doing, man?
What up, dog? Hang
Good to
on
see
one
you.
second. Let me disconnect my Bluetooth real quick.
Do what?
I just had to disconnect my Bluetooth. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. What up?
How you, I got your gift, man. I got it in the mail today.
Well, let's let you got it next to you or something?
No, but I can grab it if you give me about 30 seconds.
Yeah. What up, Wu Hao? What up,
All right,
Tom?
I'll be right back.
What's up, guys? Feel free to jump in and ask questions. We're back to drum topics this week, so if you were lucky enough to hear us play guitar last week, good on you. This podcast is sponsored by Orgain Protein, almond milk, and frozen bananas. That's all we're going to talk about tonight is protein shakes and drums. So, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite color?
All right. I am back.
All right, I'm not good at killing time. I think you're better than me.
That's
all right, let's see it.
Is my buddy Matt. Hey, man.
What's up? What's up, Matt?
Anyway, so guys, Jeff sent me this in the mail, which looks like a confusing
What up, Kevin?
amalgamation of metal, but what this actually is a mount for something percussive on a foot. So what I could do, this is like the spur that you'd connect or like the rim that you'd connect a kick drum pedal to, right? So I could connect a kick drum pedal to this and then attach like a tambourine or a cowbell or, a clave, woodblock, whatever to this. And I could play with my feet on this, which is what I intend to do. I have one of these, but it's bad.
Yeah, I see that thing wobbling around. Yeah, it's not good.
So what this one, the advantage that this one has over the one that I have is that with this bracket here, I can adjust the height of this thing, which is really, 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 really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got some better spurs that'll help, better spurs that I can flip around here. That'll help keep it from sliding on the floor. It's going to be really, really nice. I'm going to attach a Meinl crasher to it, which is a little flat device, kind of like it sounds a little bit like a tambourine.
It's like a ribbon crasher, right?
Yeah. The ribbon crasher is basically the same thing. So
cool.
I'm going to be playing that with my left foot, and it's going to be cool. Very, very cool. So thank you very much, Jeff.
Hi, Jordan. Hi, Cash. Yeah, absolutely, man. I figure, so you guys probably don't know, well, unless you watch every week, but Nick sent me an 18-inch Classics Custom Dark Crash and a 22-inch Classics Custom Dark Crash Ride.
Yes.
I mean, brand new, that's like $450 worth of cymbals at least. And he sent it to me, and they were damaged, but he sent it to me for, I think I gave him $50 or something. And now, now that ride cymbal is my number one go-to. I used it in the studio.
It's nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
It's the best Meinl ride I've played. I have my other ride for sale, that shop ride. So I think we should just keep on sending each other gear. I'm almost at the point where I don't want to sell anything else.
Right.
I think I'm trying to get rid of that Crash. I'm trying to sell it because I hate it, but I love the ride. But all I have left that I'm not using is like some various cymbals, like some banged up China cymbals and some stuff that like some weird stuff that my cymbal guy sent me. And then I have a 13x7 Birch Babinga Thomas snare that I just don't think I'm ever going to sell. Like I'm real set with Frank the Tank, my 8x14 free floating copper snare, but
Frank the Tank.
Yeah, I call it Frank the Tank because it weighs like 15 pounds. So anyway, to the topics for today. So we got first thing up is developing your left side. So I wanted to talk about this, but what is your take on that weak side? What are you doing to make that a little stronger?
So I've got a really, really interesting thing that I wanted to mention that I've only ever heard one person talk about. And so I got this idea from Chris Adler. Chris Adler, of course, for those of you that don't know, was the drummer of Lamb of God for a long time. And he ended up he's not their drummer anymore. I think he had some kind of health issue. I don't remember what. But anyway, for a long time, he was Lamb of God's drummer. And I was a big Lamb of God fan and still am a big Lamb of God fan. And I read an article in Modern Drummer about him where people were asking him this exact same question. And his response in the article was, I thought, very, very interesting because I've never heard any other drummer come up with this response. His response was basically start doing things outside of drum playing with your weak side, specifically your left arm. And so what he means by that, and what I started doing, is doing mundane tasks left-handed, because of course I'm right-hand dominant normally. So I taught myself to shave left-handed, brush your teeth left-handed, write, with a pen left-handed.
Wow.
Open doors left-handed. Everything that you normally do with your right hand, you do left-handed. And so the question is, why would you do this? This in particular doesn't make you better at drums. You're not going to become a better drummer because you can brush your teeth with your left hand. But what it does is it gives you additional control over the small muscles in your arm and your fingers and your wrist. And that additional motor control allows you to learn new skills more quickly. So it allows you that additional control to learn new drum things with your weak hand faster than you normally would, because some of that muscle memory, some of that control is already there. You've already learned. Okay. And so that would be my advice. I think that's really fascinating, because I was just doing this a minute ago. I was eating dinner and I was using my fork with my left hand,
That's awesome.
Weird. It feels weird. I don't know if you've ever tried.
I can't believe you trust yourself enough to shave with your left hand. I would this took me so long to get to where it is now. If I shaved, it would take me it takes everything grows in so thin and so weird that if I were to mess anything up, I just have to shave it all off, or just go with a mustache and look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I've been doing this for 10 years. So I can, shaving with my left hand is no less awkward than my right hand at this point, because I've just been doing it for a long time. Most of it is not that useful. Like being able to brush your teeth with your left hand doesn't give you an advantage over brushing your teeth with your right hand. Shaving does. It's a lot easier to shave the left side of your face with your left hand than it is.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
That's a big advantage.
So what I've been doing lately is the video I just posted today. Whatever the fill is, I try to play it off the left hand backwards.
Right. I saw that. I was actually just looking at that post a minute ago.
Dude, I was playing that pattern for 45 minutes. I went through a whole GoPro battery on that, and it was cool in my studio. So I probably played it for more like an hour, and I could not get past eighth note or eighth note triplet equals 225. I couldn't go any faster than that.
I mean, it's not what you had.
My left hand literally locked up. And I don't think people understand sometimes that you have your middle tom here, and typically people's floor tom is down here.
Yeah.
So there's a big drop off. If you're going like this, that's one thing. But if you're going 1-2 as opposed to 1-2, then that's a completely different motion. So I actually had to tighten up I moved my toms over slightly to the right, and then so my floor tom would be a little closer, and then I angled my floor tom a little bit and made it more like a Chad Wackerman has everything where he can just everything is just so really close to him. But I think it's better if stuff is kind of hugged in a little tighter. But then when I took a page out of your book, I'm starting to make 2 videos of the studio now instead of just 1.
Right.
To maintain sanity. Otherwise, I just can't go to the studio every night. It's it just completely stresses me out. And then I don't want to do anything music on the weekends. But then the other fill I came up with, I was it was just nice to be how do I craft this on the left hand? What kind of orchestration? Now I'm just trying to play it backwards and or off the left hand.
Right.
Because I think you can play it backwards, but you can still play it right hand lead. But I think a lot of fills, if you were to play them backwards, not backwards start at the end of the measure. I mean backwards it starts with the right, left, right. So you just start with the left, right, left.
Right.
Make the sticking backwards. It makes sense that it would open up stuff. If you're let's say you're going from 2 notes on the floor tom and 2 notes on the hi-hat back and forth. Floor tom, hi-hat, floor tom, hi-hat, hi-hat. If you're moving left, it would make sense to do left hand lead.
It would, yeah.
So it makes sense to go like this versus this.
Yeah.
Trying to force it.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept. I think it's more like a system than I'm kind of moving past what are if I come up with a cool fill in my practice or whatever, I always try to fuck with it and make it backwards and left hand, and it's working out. So
yeah, anything you can do with the left hand, I think is an interesting concept to explore, because it's not been done a lot. Most drummers don't focus on their weak side that much, and so especially fills ascending, going up the toms, going floor tom to rack tom. Nobody does that. People, drummers, professional drummers, I'll see them talk about it and talk about practicing it. But actually seeing a drummer do it live a performance, whether it's in a band or a clinic or a solo or whatever. Like no one does it, dude. It's like even Thomas Lang, who is probably he probably has the least weak side ever. You know, his limbs are probably as equal as any human. He talks about it, but like I never see anyone actually do it in a performance, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something that I've actually been thinking about a lot over the last year or two, is really trying to include even just simple fills, just like, you know, quads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But going up the toms, leading with the left hand, you know, that's not hard. It's just, you know, a single stroke roll leading with the left hand. But no one does it, you know? And I think
like even like a skip, like if you went like 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2.
Right.
Like that's even like 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You know, those kind of skips. It's kind of like when you play like quads and drumline, like you have to skip drums like that, and it's more common. But there's so many different sounds you can get. Like I feel like you can. Like somebody said the other day, they were like, you can't get a signature sound. Our sound is a product of all these other people's sounds. And I'm like, yeah, I don't agree. Like, I mean, like if that's your mindset, then all you're ever going to do is sound like your favorite drummers that you listen to all the time. Like at a certain point, you have to be like, what do I want my brand to be?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of that is skipping drums and then like fills that involve hand foot, really fast patterns of hand foot.
Yeah.
I've been kind of hearing that lately. And then it's kind of like, you know, when you hear it, doesn't mean you can play it, but you're like, oh shit, did he just do like a real quick hand foot in there? You just snuck it in.
Right.
And it like sounds really interesting when that happens. So yeah, I think that's the only way you're going to get your own, any semblance of a unique sound is if you do shit like this. You just do unorthodox.
Yeah. And regarding that, I think, you know, him stating that we're just a product of our influences, you know, I think that is true, but I don't think that means it's impossible to have your own sound. I mean, if you take the color blue and you mix it with the color yellow, you get the color green. Green is made up of blue and yellow, but is green not its own color? You know?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Are you saying that because you have a green shirt on or what?
Well, yeah, green's a good color, you know? It's probably the
They
best
say
color.
geniuses pick green.
That's what I've been told, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of combine other ideas and systems and just like literally dump them in the same container and mix them up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have tom skipping and hand foot. That sounds like a real beefy, like it almost makes me want to make a fill that has that in it because it would sound dope as fuck. Like an ascending hand foot fill.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I've seen Mario Duplantier do kind of like that.
Who?
The drummer for Gojira, Mario Duplantier.
Oh God, let's not even talk about that, man. Let's also never talk about Meshuggah because oh my gosh,
dude, he's nuts as well.
Stuff is like literally insane. Well, let's this is a good segue into ergonomic drum setup. So what is your, and you just got a new drum set too. So have you made any videos with it yet?
Oh man, no, I don't even have it put together. Let me tell you, dude.
Oh, you had to get your studio set up, didn't you?
Yeah, and I've been working.
That's probably like a month or two process, isn't it?
I've been working on it a lot, and I'm close. The problem, I've got everything taken down. I've got a lot of the software and a lot of the electronic equipment put back in. But the problem that I ran into is I'm to the point now where I need to install the drum kit, which is like the last step. And so all I got to do is put the drum kit together. But I'm missing a stand for a specific monitor piece that I have, and I cannot put the drum kit together until that stand comes in. And,
oh shit!
So
I'm listening. Keep talking.
Yeah, I had to order that stand today. I didn't even realize that I didn't have it. And so that stand should arrive in the mail on Friday, which means I should have everything finished by Saturday afternoon. So I'm going to do so many videos of it, so many pictures. It's going to be really nice. I'm really excited. I'm frustrated that it's taking as long as it is. It's going to be worth
it, though.
Yeah, it will be worth it. And I should have ordered this before now. I didn't realize that I needed it. I mean, it's just natural when you have, 500 moving parts. Once you get to it, you're probably going to be missing one or two. And that's exactly what happened. So another thing that I screwed up was that I've not played on a kit with 2 kick drums since I was 15. I've always used a bass pedal. So this kit has 2 kick drums. And I realized, holy crap, I'm going to need another kick drum mic.
Oh, you don't have another mic. Oh, shit.
Yeah. So and I ordered a second kick drum mic, which is an Audix D6. That came in the mail today. And I've decided what I was going to do is I was going to mic it with an Audix D6 and then also a DW Moon mic, which captures like the sub lows and the really low frequencies.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. But I've decided instead I'm going to get, I've got some condensers that I was using for my overhead, some AKG 2020s. And those are just sitting in my closet. So I decided I'm going to try using those because I've looked up a lot of new miking techniques recently. And a lot of people have been using condensers on kick drums now. Not as the only mic source, of course, because it can
to blend it in?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm going to have
Interesting.
I'm going to have an Audix D6, which is a dynamic mic, which is going to be just inside the porthole, maybe 3 inches inside, tilted away from the beater. And then I'm going to have a condenser kind of probably 3 or 4 inches off center and then pulled back about an inch or two. And that's going to capture the low end. And it also probably captures a little bit of room sound depending on how far away it is from the resonant head.
So two things. I'm actually I'm not in the same position as you. I'm more stubborn on changing anything up, but I have a Focusrite 18i20.
Right.
And that's obviously an 8-channel. And I want to get a 16-channel, but they're really, really expensive. But I want to mic the underside of my snare and have a blend.
Right.
And then I want to do the same thing with the kick. I want to have one mic inside because I like the mic like really close to the beater. Like I like a lot of attack.
Yeah.
But then have one on the outside to capture more of the mids and stuff like that.
That's what I've been doing. That's what my current setup is I have an internal kick drum mic that's 5 or 6 inches away, like on the inside of the kick, 5 or 6 inches away from the beater head, on the inside, very, very close as it can get. And then I have an Audix D6 on the outside, on the resonant head, and then also I have the DW Moon mic. And so
Hi, David.
That sounds really cool.
Hi, Renzo.
I can't get another DW Moon mic because they're $500, and I don't have the money to spend on that right now. So I'm
thinking about putting some shit back on the Sweetwater credit card, my friend.
Do what?
I'm thinking about putting some shit back on the Sweetwater credit card. I'm right in that spot. I don't know if it's just by the holidays or my bonus checks are a little lower lately from work, but I'm at the point where I just can't. I got some hi-hats coming that I'm going to talk about here in a second, but I'm like, man, this shit adds up. Like it adds up fast. And we ain't getting paid for drumming. I mean, you are. I'm not. So lot. Yeah, I mean, it's not enough to like justify. Like the average purchase that I want to make is like $300 to $400.
Yeah. Like
a pop, and then I have to sell whatever I'm not using. Which I think the longest time it ever took me to sell a Meinl was like 6 weeks.
Right.
And the quickest I ever sold it was in 1 day. So again, like taking a month to sell something is, a significant amount of time. So sure. I think I'm just need to be done for a while. I'm going to try these hi-hats. I got some, and that's the next topic actually is, I've been exploring Istanbul. So,
what is that?
Istanbul.
I'm not familiar with that.
AGOP, Istanbul AGOP. Carter McLean uses them.
That's the cymbal brand.
It's a cymbal brand. Yeah. So, obviously I work for Drumeo, and my boss is, his name's Brandon. And so he makes a lot of videos for Drumeo and does like lesson videos and stuff like that. But he's endorsed by Meinl. He's endorsed by Istanbul. And so he made videos of their entire like lines. Like they send him like every cymbal, every line. And he has like tons of video like getting edited of every cymbal. So when I told him what kind of hi-hats I wanted, it was like asking someone who's driven like every car ever made by like Chevrolet. Right. And you're like, here's what I want in a Chevrolet. He's going to tell you which one to buy. So he gave me a list of like 5 different hi-hats because I like the extra dry, thin hi-hats. Right. Those are, I think, the best sound, but you've got to mic them up. They're so quiet. I mean, they're so low frequency and they're dry, so they don't really cut at all. So you can't really play them. They're not really suitable for live music, in my opinion, unless you have them mic'd up and you have them like mixed really, really well.
Right.
So I just asked him, how can I get that dark, earthy sludge sound without compromising volume? And he suggested they're called Turks. AGOP, they're an AGOP line, but then I guess Cindy Blackman from Lenny Kravitz's drummer has her own signature line called Mantra. Right. So I'm going to try the Turks, and if I don't love them, I'm going to stay with I've been using Sand Hats for like the last like 3 years. And I mean, they're
those as well. I love them. Absolutely love them.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, what kind of hi-hats do you have, and what have you looked at any other brands or anything like that?
So I've got a pair of sand hats, like I mentioned, that I'm not using them now, but I've used them a lot in the past. I love them. I've got
They're so great. I almost don't
Yeah.
want to get rid of them.
Yeah, I've also got a pair of dark extra dry 15-inch hats that I use currently as my auxiliary hats. So like right here next to my ride cymbal on the right. But my main hi hats, like that's to the left of my snare drum, that of course your main hats are 15-inch Byzance Classics. They're very bright, very loud and aggressive. I think that I think I kind of want to drill holes in the bottom of them
I think
because
that's a good call.
I want more attack, and I want a faster faster decay, when you close them, because I do a lot of stuff with my left foot. And so I like using
Yeah.
the hi-hat pedal as an additional sound source, not just as a timekeeper,
You need an aggressive chick. You need a real clean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, what you can do with hi-hats is if you drill holes in the bottom of them, what happens when you close the hi-hats is, of course, air has to escape because you're reducing the amount of physical space in between the hats, right? So the bigger the hats are, the more air has to escape when you close them. And so
What's up, Alex?
you would think, hey, these hats are bigger, they should therefore be louder when you use the pedal. And that's not necessarily the case because of how much air has to escape. That air slows the rate at which the cymbals collapse and reduces the velocity and therefore reduces the volume. So what you can do is you can drill holes on the underside or the top side, but it's usually done on the underside. And that will allow air to escape faster, which lets the cymbals close faster, which gives you more volume and a little bit more of an aggressive chick that cuts through the mix a little bit better. I know you know that, Jeff, for the people that might not.
Didn't you hear me say that I'm not going to buy any more gear? Like, were you listening when I was saying that?
Right. You're going to buy some hats?
There's a guy in Reverb that has just a bottom sand hat, just the bottom cymbal.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty sure I can just be like, yo, like, that's not a complete hi-hat. I have to find a top. I'm having a hard time finding the other cymbal, and just try to negotiate like super low on it. Because, I mean, you can't really sell half of a hi-hat anyway.
Right, yeah.
Have him mail it to my cymbal guy, have him drill holes in it, and then I have my sand hats with like an auxiliary hi-hat bottom. Because the best hi-hats I ever played, or one of the best, I think the best Zildjian hi-hats I ever played were the Vinny Caluta. And Vinny's been endorsed by like every cymbal company, but this is back when he actually had some custom hi-hats made by
Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Alex. Hey, man.
Yeah, Alex is spot on. Alex is my buddy from Arizona. He's a great drummer. The cymbal on the bottom had holes in it, and then there's actually some Turks on eBay, the Istanbul cymbals, that have holes in them as well on the bottom. So, and I think Matt Garska's signature hi-hat had holes in the bottom. So I think I think you're onto something. And there's a lot of dudes that are either playing a top hi-hat cymbal that's a trash crash, or there's a really good drummer from like Poland. He took a ozone splash and put it on top of his top hi-hat cymbal, and makes it like really just adds a lot of just makes it sound really trashy. And the problem with trashy is if you use it as your main hi-hat is you lose the articulation on the top. You can't really get that. The chick kind of goes away, but the open sounds like, because it's more like an open hat. But I think that I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to sit down and absolutely love these Turks. I just want, and you have 15-inch extra dry vinyls, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want those, but I want a volume increase of 50%. So maybe to your point, maybe I need to drill holes in the bottom of those hats. But here's another thing, because I could talk about this all day. I find that the hi-hats that I like the most is when it's almost double the weight on the bottom than the top. Like if I'm looking at the grams, and the grams are really, really close, because I think like your extra dry hats, if I'm not mistaken, are almost the same weight per cymbal, because they're so like papery and quiet. If you have a heavy bottom cymbal and a medium top, I feel like that will get you more. It definitely gets more play because it's two different weights. Right. But I feel like some of the hi-hats they don't have any like balls to them. They just sound so papery thin, light and airy, because the bottom hi-hat isn't heavy enough. So I don't know if you have any experience on that.
I've honestly, I mean, what you're saying makes sense. I've never actually paid attention to the weight of the hi-hats. So
I just started because I feel like the sand hats aren't my jam, but they are. I'm just like in an experimental. I want to try something else. I don't know. Like I don't feel like they're lacking anything. Maybe I'm just like bored with them or something. But I have been looking at. But I did notice that the sand hats are like a hybrid. It's not a dry or extra dry, but it's like kind of like a mix between the two, and it's hammered. And then the bottom hi-hat is like really thick and really bright. So you have the two contrasting sounds, I think, would really
that's interesting. If you had thick bottom hat with holes in it, thin bottom hat, or thin top hat, I think that might be the best. Because especially,
I think you're right.
If it's thinner and it has less weight, you're gonna be able to control it with the pedal faster anyway, because it's gonna respond to the spring more aggressively because it weighs less. So that's really, I've never thought about that before, but that's I think I'm gonna mess with that. I might try to put some hats together, like combine maybe the bottom of the extra dry and maybe the top.
I mean,
pair.
That's what the jazz hats are. The jazz hats are like a hand hammered like traditional top, and then like if you look on the inside, it's like an extra dry on the inside. It's like it's got that raw like earthy patina on one of them. But again, when you have that earthy patina, I feel like the volume is just way too low.
Right.
I'm just playing them live. Like I hate to say this, bro, but I don't know how much longer I can use my extra dry thin crash in my setup. I played in the studio and we were all like, is the volume down on like the left side or something? Like,
yeah,
what's going? Like he's gonna have to mix. I mean, it's a studio. He'll mix it up. It'll be fine. Like he'll EQ it or whatever. But like in a live setting, extra dry cymbals just don't. Like in a low volume, like jazz setting or like a small club or something like that, I feel like the extra dry line's really good. But if you just want to use it in like for practice, or you're not mic'd up or any of those scenarios, like I don't really think it's gonna work. It's just too quiet.
The last crash I had, so I always have a crash on the right side of my kit that I play when I descend the toms, whatever.
Yeah.
The one I had before the one I currently have was an extra dry. It was an 18-inch Meinl extra dry, and I noticed that exact same thing. I would be playing, and I'd be going to some big chorus, and so I'd swap to writing on that extra dry crash, and you couldn't hear it. I had to like go in and automate the volume up on Pro Tools so that the overhead volume would be louder during the parts where I was playing that crash, because it's not loud enough. It's not as loud as other crashes, because it's thinner and has less mass, and so it doesn't move as much air.
Yeah, I don't think it's built for. It's not built for speed. It's built for comfort.
You need an entire kit of extra dry. Like if you're going to do that, you have to have all so that all the volumes are the same among the cymbals.
Yeah, that's a good point. But even all extra dry line just makes me thirsty just thinking about it. It's just too dry. Like I had one of my favorite cymbals was the extra dry thin ride, a 20-inch, and I really had to like twist my own arm to get rid of that. Like I don't regret it now. And I used it for a really long time. I used it for a ton of videos, and I really awesome belt. Actually, what I was looking at, I don't know if you've seen this, was the Meinl 22-inch raw bell ride.
Okay.
This thing, I know the Meinl YouTube videos, they make every cymbal sound amazing. They'll EQ the mics and stuff like that. Like it's not really the true sound. But this is basically like the heavy hammered. So it's like hammered, kind of not super bright like traditional like mirror shine, but kind of like a medium shine. But the bell is like the vintage pure bell. It's like unlathed, but it's just like lightly sandblasted. So it's like kind of like a hybrid cymbal. It's really expensive. It's like $500 or something. But I was looking at that the other day, and I was like, man, the elusive ride sound. Because I feel like with that classic custom ride, I have a nice ping, a nice crash, and the balance is, it's not my favorite ride ever in the whole world, but the balance is there. It gives me everything I need. With that raw bell, I feel like it gives me a little bit more than what I need. It like exceeds my expectations. So that's what I'm looking for with hi-hats. But one more thing on that. I do think in a perfect world, you just go to the Meinl factory and you're just like, give me like 50 hi-hat tops and 50 hi-hat bottoms, and give me like the day in a soundproof room, and I will come out with the perfect hi-hat. Because it's not about the matched set. It's really about like, what kind of sound are you hearing? How does it, does it give you a splash and a stomp and a chick and an open? Does it have like a nice balance of all four of those sounds? Like some people are just like, it just sounds good. And it's like, well, is it going to do what you want it to do for what you want to play? And I guess that's my, I feel like a hipster now. I'm like drinking coffee. I'm like, well, the beans weren't roasted at the right temperature or some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but that's where I'm at. I finally have everything. It's like a palette. I finally have all my colors I want to paint with. Now I'm getting very like hyper specific about what the color is. It's not yellow anymore.
Right.
It's like, it's got like 4 adjectives in front of the color name.
Right. Yeah. No.
And if I can't find that color, I'll just buy something else. You know what I
The
mean?
nuance matters. Absolutely.
Nuance. Yeah,
Especially
that's
finding
the
your
word.
own sound. Those types of little details seem little, especially when you're talking about them, but people don't realize how big of an impact little changes like that can make, because it's not only the sound. It's not just the fact that it sounds different. It's also the fact that once you get something that you love, it causes you to play better because you're inspired by it. You play
Yeah.
something that you love, and so when you hit something and you really like the sound, it makes you want to hit it more. And
Yeah.
that makes you practice more, which makes you play better. So it even beyond the actual physical sound, it will still impact your playing outside and above that. So it's super important to get to a point in your equipment where you're super happy with everything down to the tiny minor details, because you need that inspiration.
Man, truer words have never spoken, because like if your set sounds like garbage, or it doesn't feel good to play it, or you have a broken crash that you never replaced or something like that, all that just hinders your progress. It takes away from the fun of playing an instrument. Like, it should be fun, and it should be enjoyable.
You should look
that's really
forward
good.
to practicing. You should get excited. Hey man, I get to practice drums today.
Yeah.
And if you're
That's
not,
bomb.
then you need to change something.
Yeah, change your fucking hi-hats. Go buy some new hi-hats.
That's right. Drill some holes in your hi-hats.
Build it from the ground up. But yeah, I'm definitely going to check out that. I think the Turks come on, today's Tuesday. They're going to come on Thursday.
Okay.
So I'm going to give them but what's really cool is that like, I'll know within like 5 minutes if I love them or not. Like, I got some pure alloy custom hi-hats that I think I tried the night after our last podcast, and I made a video with them, and I was just like, they were just like so average. I mean, they didn't blow my skirt up at all. I mean, they weren't even like unique. They didn't even have a unique sound. So I'm going to try the Turks, and if that doesn't work, or I'll probably end up buying that fucking thing on Reverb anyway, because I just sold something. Try to get the guy to go low and try that out. But I think that's a great idea. Cool. Well, I think that's about, I don't know what time it is. I can't see my clock.
It is 8:36.
Okay. So next week, 8 p.m. Central. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Any final thoughts or anything, Nick?
I'm gonna have my kit done by the next time we get together, and I'll probably do the next podcast from in there, and I'll show you guys around, and I'm super excited. It's gonna be nice.
Oh man, that's beautiful. I can't wait to see the tour, the full tour, and give me all the specs and all the little nuances, what you like, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys next Tuesday, and hope you guys have a great night. See you later.